Today we're going to be using Dr. Color Chip. I've identified a lot of rock chips kind of all over the car just from the years that it's had. Some of it already has some small touch-up paint. I'm going to see if I can make those areas look better. But Dr. Color Chip is a brand that I've used on all of my cars, and you really can search for just about any car, any color, any paint code on there, and supposedly, you know, it's supposed to match really well. The challenge that I've ran into is anytime you have like a metallic, anytime you have like a three coating type paint, it's hard for them to match it exactly, and so they'll give you like a warning on there, especially anytime there's like a metallic or a pearl or anything. It's really hard for them to get it right. So we'll see how good this matches up today. All right, so here's the kit, there's the paint. And this is, over here is the C-lac. I think that's what they call it. Yeah, C-lac. So this is step 2. So step 1, put the paint on, and then step 2, you're gonna take the C-lac, and it just helps blend it. So you just really just put a little bit here on this cloth that they provide you, and just go over it really lightly. If you go over it too hard, it'll actually take all of the paint out from the rock chip that you actually just filled. So it is a process. You can do several coats. It takes some time. You know, I'm probably not gonna show you guys every single chip that I do, but I'll focus on a few and just kind of bring you guys along for how I actually put this together and do it. It also comes with gloves. I think this was about 40 bucks or so, I wanna say. There's more expensive ones you can do, and obviously there's different sizes that you can get, but they have a lot of different things that help out in terms of making your rock chips look better. But what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm actually gonna take some Speed Shine. So Speed Shine is a Griot's product that I like, and I am just gonna use it to clean the surface. My car is pretty clean. It has just a little bit of dust on it. So I'm just gonna take Speed Shine, clean the area that I'll be working on. I think I'm gonna work on this back one right here, and I'll go ahead and just kind of clean this up so you guys can see it really good and prep the surface good, and then I'll show you guys what this looks like after I apply it. And yeah, my experience with this, you're gonna go a few rounds on it if you want it to look somewhat decent. It's okay if you get a little too much on. You probably want to err on that side. Just gonna be painting some happy little trees here. Happy little trees. So I'm gonna call that good for the first one. You guys can see there, probably doesn't look very good. It's really deep, so I need to let it dry in order to put the second application on there. But the paint match actually looks pretty dang good. It's gonna take pretty much all of it off, even though it's dried. There's kind of you have to be very delicate. You can't put a lot of pressure on, otherwise it pulls it up out of the chip. Or out of the chip. But my experience is when I do this, it normally takes most of it out, and then I have to completely redo it again. But let's see if I can do better this time. I've done this on a few cars, so they give you this cloth, you just kind of get it wet, or damp, I should say. So, I mean, you can see it's pulled some red off of there. It looks good. It looks good. I'll show you guys what it looks like. You can see it looks pretty good color-wise, in my opinion. I'd have to get out in the light to tell. The challenge that I have, or that at least bugs me as someone being OCD, is the depth of it. I mean, that's down to bare, it's down to bare metal, and so you can kind of see like a void. So for me, it's like, when I look at it in that light, it's like, okay, yeah, I've touched it up with paint, but I want it to be a little bit more full in terms of just looking more flush with the paint. And so I am gonna go over this again. And this is the name of the game with this. With Dr. Color Chip, what I found is the paint's pretty good, but if you want it to look really good, you're gonna have to go over it multiple times. You're not just gonna get this on one little trial run with it. So I'm gonna keep trying it and see if I can get it where I want it. Okay, so that's round 2. I was able to apply it a little bit more liberally that time over it, so gonna let that dry for a good chunk of time. After doing a couple coats, looking better. I just don't know if we're ever gonna get it completely perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and just touch up the rest of the spots in the car. I am working on a section over here that they never, it's like they use like fingernail polish or something. So I've been working at this pretty heavily. Actually, I'm gonna take some more compound and see if I can just buff that down, because I've never liked how that looked because there was so much on there and there was a bad dent before and the dent's now gone, that I wanna see if I can get that more flat and get it to blend better. So even though I've protected this paint and I'm probably gonna jack up the paint a little bit by doing this, or not necessarily jack it up, but it's probably gonna remove, you know, a lot of my protection that I have on there, but I wanna see if I can get that looking a little bit better. Okay, I'm getting really excited about, there we go. I'm getting really excited about that part, because I was nervous to kind of come back over this with compound, and you guys can see how before it just looked like really dark red. You could totally tell there was a spot there. You can still tell that there's some paint in there. I think what happened is this was a really bad dent, and they tried just filling in the dent with the touch-up paint. But I'm gonna keep playing around with this a little bit better, but it is already looking so much better. I haven't even put any paint on it. I've just been trying to strip the paint out of it. I've had the dent pulled, but I'm getting really excited about this because I think I can get this looking, I think I can get it looking pretty good. Like, and it's already looking way better than what it was, because before I would walk up to the car and I'd be like, oh man, I don't like that big dark red patch right there. So I'm gonna keep playing around with compound. I did up the speed on my drill, but you guys can tell I'm really excited because I think I can get this. See, I can't even find it on the camera. I'm gonna be able to get this thing looking way better. It's looking good, guys. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh no. good. I think I burnt the clear coat. Well, burned my clear coat. It's all good. Man, I was trying to remove this dent on the side and it looked terrible before. They had so much filler, paint filler in there that's what they were using to try and cover the dent. And as I pulled the dent out, it was just sitting so high above the surface. So I was starting to use some of the Shellac and remove some of the previous paint on there. Then I started polishing with compound and it was starting to work. But I did something I knew I shouldn't have done, which is crank up the speed on the drill and leave it in one spot for too long. And I went over it several passes. I was good. Then I cranked up the speed even more and it was taking even more off. And then, yeah, it burned the clear. So I'm a little mad at myself, but at the same time, I have to look at the positives because the car in so many different spots just looks vastly better. So I might have I might have just had to trade off with a bad door ding that was fixed poorly in terms of the paint touch up. And then once the paint was pulled, it looked goofy on there. It didn't match to where now you can't even notice that piece, but now you have a big spot where the clear is burned through. So lesson learned, but that's why I bought this car, so I could practice on this. Is why I don't want to practice on new cars. I want professionals to do it. But at the end of the day, it's a lesson learned. And I still think I made it look better, but now I have another small blemish right there. So really the only way to fix when you burn through the clear, from my understanding, is sand it down, respray it. But definitely not in the business of doing that. Maybe when I have the back bumper and front bumper repaid, I'll have somebody try and fix that spot up. But let me show you guys what it looks like. So here is what that panel looks like now on the outside. You can see that blurry spot. That's where I burn into the clear. Up above it is where that door ding was, where they had a lot of paint filler on there. But you know what? I just traded one bad thing, made it better, and created another bad thing. So I'll leave some shots up here if I can find some of how that looked before. And then you guys can be the judge of, hey, did I actually improve it or did I make it worse by burning into the clear coat? But it'll be a lesson learned as I look on it each time. But yeah, let me know what you guys think below. Maybe some of you have done this. Maybe it looks actually better now, even with the clear coat burned, but I'll leave it up to you guys to decide.